Good morning, children. Welcome back to mathematics class. How are you all? Hope you all are taking a good care of yourself. So, children, let us start today's lecture. This is class 10th, subject mathematics, chapter number 7, coordinate geometry. And children, this is summary lecture. Children, I am going to cover this complete chapter in two summary lectures because there are total 4 derivations. So in first lecture I am going to take 2 derivations along with some problems based on those very concepts, and in another lecture I will be taking the rest 2 derivations and then the problems based on that. Fine, students? Then children, in today's summary lecture, the topics which I am going to make you recall, they are: number 1, about Cartesian system; number 2, derivation of the distance formula and some problems based on it; and number 3, derivation of section formula and some problems based on it. Fine, students? Now children, our first topic is Cartesian system. The system used to describe the position of a point in a Cartesian plane that is known as Cartesian system. Fine. For example, here I have plotted a point P whose coordinates are 4 and 3. Fine, students. Now basically through this complete Cartesian plane, I can just explain about the position of this very point on this plane figure. Correct? Now, in a Cartesian plane, basically there are two perpendicular straight lines. They are x dash and y dash. Where these both perpendicular lines are going to meet with each other, that very point is known as origin. Basically, they both are perpendicular to each other. Fine, students? And how do we denote that point of intersection? By O. O is nothing but the origin. Clear, students? The horizontal line x dash is called x-axis, and this vertical line y dash is called y-axis. Correct, students? Now direction OX and OY, means this horizontal part as well as this vertical part, they are called the positive directions of x and y axis respectively. In the same manner, children, directions OX dash and OY dash, they are called the negative directions of x and y axis respectively. Correct, students? Basically, children, the intersection of x and y axis divides the complete plane in 4 parts. These 4 parts are known as quadrant. This is quadrant number 1, this is quadrant number 2, this is quadrant number 3, and this is quadrant number 4. Correct, students? So, how will you call quadrant number 1? It would be actually XOY. Quadrant number 2, that is x dash OY. Quadrant number 3, x dash OY dash. And quadrant number 4 will be XOY dash. Correct, students? Now children, as I have plotted a point P whose coordinates are 4, 3. Here 4 is basically the x coordinate and 3 is y coordinate. Okay. So what is the another name of x coordinate? That is abscissa. It is written over here. And the y coordinate is also known as ordinate. Now the question comes, how do we plot the coordinates basically? Always remember one thing. The x coordinate of a point is its perpendicular distance from y axis. Correct? See, here you can see this is how much distance it is basically. This is equal to 4. That's why I have written here abscissa as 4. If I am going to talk about the ordinate, then ordinate means the y coordinate of a point is nothing but its perpendicular distance from x-axis. Correct, students? Coordinates x and y taken together, they are always known as Cartesian coordinates. For example, if I have written x, y. So children, they are nothing but the Cartesian coordinates, or you can call them the coordinates of a point, and they are always denoted by x, y. Here x is abscissa and y is ordinate. And this is always called an ordered pair. You cannot change their positions. means you cannot bring ordinate at the place of abscissa and abscissa at the place of ordinate. That would be considered incorrect. Of course, in that very case, the plotting of the point will also be changed. For example, if I am going to change them, at place of abscissa I am bringing 3 and at place of ordinate I am going to take 4. So definitely I have to take 3 here and 4 will go somewhere up. Okay, then the position of the point will be changed. It may be approximately over here. Correct, students? Okay. And children, in first quadrant, always remember that the sign of x coordinate and y coordinate both will be positive. Here you can see. But in second quadrant, the x coordinate means abscissa will be negative, but y coordinate, that is ordinate, will be positive. Let us talk about quadrant number 3. In quadrant number 3, abscissa and ordinate both will be negative. Just have a look. I have plotted a point -2, -1, means x coordinate is -2. So I have to take it over here. This is -2 and this is -1. So what is the position of this very point? This is -2, -1 will be plotted over here. Correct, students? And in quadrant number 4, the sign of x coordinate will be positive, but ordinate, that is y coordinate sign, will be negative. Correct? So this was all about Cartesian system. Now children, our next topic is the derivation of distance formula. What is the purpose of distance formula? Distance formula is basically used to calculate the distance between 2 points which are plotted on the Cartesian plane. Okay. So what is the formula? Suppose you will be having 2 points P, x1, y1 and Q, x2, y2. So how to calculate the distance between them? That is PQ is equal to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, then its whole under root. So let us recall its derivation once again. Now children, look at here in this Cartesian plane. You can see the point P whose coordinates are x1, y1 and point Q whose coordinates are x2, y2. I have to calculate this PQ, which is nothing but the distance between P and Q. Children, while explaining Cartesian plane, I have just explained you that x coordinate of a point is basically its perpendicular distance from the y-axis. So this very distance means we can say that OR is equal to x coordinate, that is x1. Similarly, if I am going to talk about the y coordinate of a point, then its perpendicular distance, the y coordinate of a point is its perpendicular distance from x-axis. So what can we say? That this complete is y1. Okay. Let us talk about now this point Q whose coordinates are x2, y2. Children, can you tell me what would be x2? Correct. It would be OS. Why? Because the x coordinate of a point is nothing but its distance from y-axis, and this very distance is basically equal to OS. In the same manner, this complete QS must be equal to y2. Fine, students? Now this is complete x2 and this much part means OS is equal to x2, OR is equal to x1. So children, can you tell me what is this RS? It would be definitely x2 minus x1. In the same manner, if complete QS is equal to y2 and TS is equal to y1, then this QT must be equal to y2 minus y1. Correct, students? Now children, we will have to basically go for the construction also. We can say that PR is perpendicular on x-axis and QS is also perpendicular on x-axis. In the same manner, PT is perpendicular on QS. Fine, students? Now children, in this diagram, you can easily judge that PTSR will be a rectangle because each and every angle is of 90 degree and opposite sides are also equal in length. Fine, students? So if RS is equal to x2 minus x1, then we can say that PT will also be x2 minus x1 and QT we have just calculated, that is y2 minus y1. So if angle PTS is of 90 degree, then we can say that PTQ will also be 90 degree as it is a straight line angle. So can we apply Pythagoras theorem over on this very triangle, that is QTP. So now I am going to apply Pythagoras theorem on this triangle. So now children, in right angled triangle, PTQ. I am going to apply Pythagoras. As you know that the side which is just opposite of 90 degree, that is known as hypotenuse. So PQ square is hypotenuse. Hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus height square. So this will be PQ square is equal to PT square plus QT square. Fine students. Now PQ square is equal to PT, you know. PT we have just calculated, that is x2 minus x1 and its whole square, plus QT is y2 minus y1 and then its whole square. But I have to calculate the distance PQ. So definitely this square will be removed. So we will be getting here under root. So this is the way to calculate the distance formula. PQ is equal to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square and then its whole under root. Correct students? Now children, along with it I am going to cover a very small concept of collinearity. You know, 3 or more than 3 points are said to be collinear if they lie on the same line. So how can we apply distance formula for the concept of collinearity? Suppose I have taken 2 points whose 3 points A, B and C whose coordinates are x1, y1, x2, y2 and x3, y3. Now I have to apply distance formula so that the concept of collinearity I could apply. Fine student. So what I am going to do, I am just going to calculate the distance AB. Then I will be calculating BC. If AB plus BC is equal to complete distance AC, then we can say that ABC are collinear points, otherwise not. Fine. This condition I have written over here. If the sum of the shorter lengths, what are the shorter lengths? AB and BC, that is not equal to the larger distance, then in that case children, points will not be collinear. Otherwise, if AB plus BC is equal to AC, then all the 3 points are called collinear points. Fine students? Okay, now children, I will be taking some problems based on distance formula. Fine. So find the distance between the pairs of the points. You will be having points given A, B and another one is minus A, minus B. Okay. So first of all, let us assume these points as P and Q. Children, as you know that the formula of calculating distance between 2 points is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, then its whole under root. So you assume A, B as x1, y1 and minus A, minus B as x2, y2. Fine children. Now let us apply the distance formula which I have just narrated, that is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square and whole under root. You had P and Q points given. So how will you represent it? You will represent it by PQ. Fine children. Now x2 is minus A, this minus sign which is there in the formula. Then x1 is A, its whole square, plus y2 is minus B, then this minus sign and y1 is B. Look at here. Fine. Its whole square and then whole under root. Minus A will become minus 2A whole square, plus minus B whole square will become minus 2B whole square and then whole under root. So this is 4A square plus 4B square whole under root. Let us take 4 as common. When you took 4 common, it came along with under root. So this is root 4 under root A square plus B square. Fine. And you know 4 is a perfect square, so it would be 2 whole under root A square plus B square unit. So this is the way to calculate the distance between 2 points. Now children, I will be taking one more question based on distance formula. Find the point on x-axis. You know if the point lies on x-axis, then ordinate must be 0. So what kind of points? So on x-axis, ordinate must be 0. Then children, what kind of point I am going to assume? I have to assume x, 0, which is equidistant from 2, minus 5 and minus 2, 9. Fine children. So I have to basically calculate that very point which lie on x-axis. So let A, x, 0 be any point on x-axis which is equidistant from 2, minus 5 and minus 2, 9. And both of those points I have considered as B as well as C. Children, just look at this diagram. If I say point A lies at the equidistance from point B as well as from C, it means the distance between A and B and the distance between A and C must be equal, correct? So definitely I will have to calculate. I will have to apply distance formula to find out the distances. So I can write AB is equal to AC. Now what are the points assumed by me for A as the point lie on x-axis? So they were x comma 0. Okay. And B you know that is 2 comma minus 5. And C you know that is minus 2 comma 9. Correct. Now let us apply distance formula. This is x minus 2 whole square plus 0 minus minus 5, that is 0 plus 5 whole square, and then whole under root. Correct. That must be equal to the distance between A and C. A having points as x comma 0 and C having minus 2 comma 9. So it would be x minus of minus 2, that is x plus 2 whole square plus 0 minus 9 whole square, and then whole under root. Fine. Squaring on both the sides. While squaring on both the sides, this whole under root will be cancelled. So I have got x square plus 4 minus 4x. While opening this identity of a minus b whole square, this is 5 square, that is 25, is equal to, apply a plus b whole square, that is x square plus 4 plus 4x plus minus 9 square means plus 81. Okay. X square and 4 are going to be cancelled. Now, when this plus 4x will go on left hand side, it would become minus 4x. And minus 4x, one more minus 4x is present over here. So, you have got minus 8x is equal to 81 minus 25, that is 56. So, x is equal to 56 upon minus 8, that is minus 7. So, hence the point which is at equidistant from the given points on the x-axis is, that was x comma 0 assumed. So it would be minus 7 comma 0. Correct, students? Now children, I am going to switch to the next topic, that is derivation of section formula. So first of all, the question arises, what do you mean by section formula? Basically, what is its use? Children, for example, you will be having a line segment given AB. Fine. Whose coordinates you know? They are x1 comma y1. And another is having x2 comma y2. Then this line segment is basically going to divide by any point in any ratio. Then that division is basically used as a section of this line segment. Section means division. Okay. So definitely, for example, if I have taken here point P, so this point P is basically going to divide this complete line segment in the ratio M1 ratio M2. So through section formula, children, we are capable to find out the coordinates of the point of division. Okay. So for that, you must be having that particular ratio given. Fine. In which basically that point of division is going to divide the complete line segment. And you must be having the coordinate of those very points given who is going to make a line segment, which is going to be divided basically. Correct, student? So this is the purpose of the section formula. Through section formula, we can basically do two things. Number one, we can find out the coordinate of the internal division, you can say, or the point which is going to divide the line segment internally. Okay, we can find out the coordinate of this P point, as well as suppose if I do not know the ratio, but I know the coordinate of P point, then using the strategy of section formula, I can apply the ratio also. Fine, students. So let us once again revise the derivation. First of all, this is a Cartesian plane, children, you can see. Okay. Here I have taken 2 points, point A as well as B, whose coordinates are x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. P is that very point which is going to divide this complete line segment internally. Okay. So through section formula, we will have to just calculate the coordinates of point P. So let us assume them as x comma y. And even we have assumed that let point P is going to divide this complete line segment in the ratio M1 ratio M2. So this is all about given. Okay. Now I am going to read what is given actually. Let A x1 comma y1 and B x2 comma y2 be 2 points. And this point P is basically the point of division whose coordinates are x comma y. This is a point on the line segment joining AB such that AP upon PB is equal to M1 ratio M2. Look, this is AP and this is PB. So AP upon AB is what? That is M1 ratio M2. So then definitely point P is what? This is point of division, which is going to divide the line segment internally. Okay, now we have to prove, basically, you know, what do we prove through section formula? We prove the coordinates of point P are m1 comma x2 plus m2 comma x1, m1 into x2 plus m2 into x1 upon m1 plus m2, m1 into y2 plus m2 into y1 upon m1 plus m2. This formula we have to find out, or we should say that I have to derive the formula of the section formula. Through that, basically I am going to calculate the coordinate of the point P, which is actually known as the point of division. So for this, children, I have just done the construction as it was done in distance formula. Draw perpendicular AR, PS and BT on x-axis and draw AQ perpendicular on PS and PC perpendicular on BT, which is just parallel to x-axis. Look, these are those very perpendiculars, AR, PS and BT. They are perpendicular on x-axis. And this AQ as well as PT. AQ is perpendicular on PS, you can see here, and PC is perpendicular on BT. Correct, students? So this was all about construction. Now let us switch to the proof. Before I switch to its proof, I want to tell you one small concept of similarity of two triangles. Always remember, children, one triangle is said to be similar to another triangle if its all the three angles of the first triangle are equal to the corresponding three angles of the another triangle, and the ratio of their corresponding sides are equal. Means AB upon PQ must be equal to BC upon QR must be equal to AC upon PR. Fine, you just keep this concept in your mind before we switch to the derivation, the proof of the derivation of section formula. Correct, students? Okay. As children, you learned in congruency, all the three sides of first triangle were equal to the corresponding three sides of the another triangle. But here the sides are not equal. In fact, the ratio of the corresponding sides are equal. Correct, students? Now here you can see that there are two triangles formed. The name of first triangle is AQP. Another one is PCB. Fine. As I told you in construction that we drew perpendiculars. Fine. So can I say that AQP, which is of 90 degree, must be equal to PCB? So this angle is equal to this angle. Okay. Basically, now I am going to prove the similarity of two triangles using double A criteria. Now the question arises, what do you mean by double A criteria? We can call it double A also, we can call it triple A also. Means you have to just prove that all the three angles of this particular triangle are equal to all the three angles of this triangle. Okay. So one I have proved that they both are equal. Fine. Now let us prove the next one. As I told you, children, that this PC is parallel to this AQ. Okay. So you can say that AB will enact as a transversal. So can I say that angle PAQ is equal to BPC? Why? Because they both are corresponding. Correct? So using double A criteria, we can say that this triangle PQA is similar to triangle BCP, and this is the symbol for similarity. Fine, students? So here I have done triangle AQP is similar to triangle PCB by double A similarity criteria. Why? Because AQP angle is equal to angle PCB, both are of 90 degree, and angle PAQ is equal to angle BPC, they both are corresponding. So if both the triangles are similar, then we can say that the ratio of the corresponding side of both the triangle must be equal. So how will you take corresponding side? If here you are taking AQ, so you must take here PC. If here you are going to take QP, you must have to take CB. Fine. If you will be taking complete AP, here you have to take complete PB. So this is what AQ upon PC is equal to QP upon CB is equal to AP upon PB. Correct, students? Now children, as I told you that x coordinate of a point is basically its perpendicular distance from y-axis. So can we say that OR is equal to x1, because this is x coordinate, that is x1. In the same manner, the y coordinate of a point is its perpendicular distance from x-axis. So this complete AR must be equal to y1. Okay. In the same manner, what can we say? That OS is equal to x and this complete PS is equal to y. Similarly, what can we say? That this complete OT is equal to x2 and this complete BT must be equal to y2. Correct, students? Okay. Now, using these very dimensions, we will have to calculate those dimensions which are required in our proof. Okay. So children, as I took the corresponding side of both the triangle, I took AQ. So can you tell me how did I calculate AQ? If I subtract this complete OR from OS, then can I calculate RS? And RS is must be equal to AQ. Why? Because ARSP, they all are going to form a complete square. And in square, all the four sides are equal. Correct, students? So AQ is what? This is x minus x1. This is complete x minus x1. Correct, students? Okay. Let us talk about PC now. This is complete PC. How did I calculate PC? If I subtract OS from OT, so I can write OT minus OS. That would give me x2 minus x. That is equal to PC. In the same manner, you will be calculating QP as well as BC. Fine, students? This is complete QP and you will be calculating BC as well. So here are these required dimension. AQ is equal to x minus x1. PC is equal to x2 minus x. You have to just simply subtract the smaller side from the bigger one. QP is equal to y minus y1 and BC is equal to y2 minus y1. Okay, children. And AP upon PB, just look at this diagram. This is AP upon PB is what? M1 upon M2. Okay. So this I have written as it is. Now these very values I am going to put in this corresponding sides ratio, which I considered as equation number 1. So put it in equation number 1. After putting it, I have got x minus x1 upon x2 minus x is equal to y minus y1 upon y2 minus y1 is equal to m1 upon m2. Fine. These are those very values, children, which I am going to just substitute over here. Now I will be taking first as well as the third values, third terms. So while cross multiplying, I will be getting m2 into x minus m2 into x1 is equal to m1 into x2 minus m1 into x. Okay. Now I am going to take both the terms which are containing x on left hand side. So this is m1x will go on left hand side. It would become plus m1x and m2x was already present over here. Okay. Is equal to m1x2 plus m2x1. Now, while taking x as common, I have got m2 plus m1 into x is equal to m1x2 plus m2x1. Correct, students? So, what is the value of x? X is equal to m1x2 plus m2x1 upon m1 plus m2. In the same manner, children, when you are going to keep second as well as the third term equal, while cross multiplying, you will be getting y is equal to m1 y2 plus m2 y1 upon m1 plus m2. These are basically what? X and y were basically the coordinates of the point of division. Through that, we were just going to calculate the same. Okay. Now, one small point I want to add in it. Suppose, children, if I know that this point P, which is basically point of division, is going to divide the line segment in the ratio 1:1. Then, children, in that case, P will be considered as the midpoint. So, at place of M1 and M2, you can just insert 1 and 1. Okay. So, what will be the coordinates of P in that case? They will be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Fine, students? Just have a look. Here you will be having x1 comma y1, x1 comma y1, and here you will be having x2 comma y2. So, how to calculate the midpoints coordinate? x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Now, children, I will be taking some problems based on section formula. If A, B are minus 2 comma minus 2 and 2 comma minus 4 respectively, find the coordinates of the point P such that AP is equal to 3/7 of AB and P lies on the line segment AB. Fine. So through this statement you have come to know that P is nothing but the point of division. Okay, just have a look. This is the ratio given. AP is equal to 3 upon 7 AB. So this AB is multiplying with 3 upon 7. It is coming on left hand side. So it must be divided. So I have got AP upon AB is equal to 3 upon 7. So children, as it is the ratio given, so definitely I have to take some variable along with it so that I can calculate the value of AP as well as AB. So let AP is equal to 3x and AB is equal to 7x. Fine. Now children, I am just going, because you know that through section formula, basically we are capable to calculate the coordinates of the point of division. So let us draw a line segment, that is AB, and P is the point of division. So children, look, you will be having this AP given, that is 3x, and you will be knowing about complete AB, that is 7x. But you know that I told you we can calculate the coordinate of the point of division if we know this ratio, that is AP upon PB. Correct? So definitely I have to calculate this PB. So what I am going to do for that? I will be subtracting AP from AB to calculate PB. So PB is equal to AB minus AP. Fine. And AB is what? That is 7x. 7x minus AP is what? 3x. 7x minus 3x is equal to 4x. So children, I have got AP as 3x and PB as 4x. Now let us find the ratio. AP upon PB is equal to 3x upon 4x. Both x are going to be cancelled. So I have got the required ratio as 3:4. Correct, students? Now what we have to calculate? We will have to calculate the coordinates of the point P. This is quite simple now. Just we have to apply section formula. Again, I have drawn the line segment AB. This is P point, which is going to divide complete line segment AB in the ratio 3:4. It must appear through the diagram also. 3 part is smaller than the 4 parts. Okay, so it must appear in the diagram. So the coordinate of A as well as B I have written. So let us recall section formula. This is M1, this is M2. M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon M1 plus M2, which is equal to X. Y is equal to M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. Fine. So let us apply on these very values. X is equal to 3 into 2 plus 4 into minus 2 upon sum of the ratio, that is 3 plus 4. Now Y is equal to 3 into minus 4 plus 4 into minus 2. This must come here now for multiplication upon 3 plus 4. So I have got 6 minus 8 upon 7, and here I have got minus 12 minus 8 upon 7. That is minus 2 upon 7 and minus 20 upon 7. These are actually the values of x and y, which are the coordinates of the point of division. Correct, students? Children, I told you the purpose of section formula. Using section formula, we not only calculate the coordinates of the point of division, but if we know the point of division's coordinate, then we can even calculate the ratio also in which that point of division is going to divide the line segment. Okay, so for that I am going to take one question. Find the ratio in which line segment joining A, that is 1 comma minus 5, and B minus 4 comma 5 is divided by x-axis. Again, you know what will be the coordinates in x-axis? That is, ordinate must be 0. So what I have to take? What I have to take? That is x comma 0. Correct, students? Also, we will have to find the coordinate of the point of division also. Fine. So let M divides the line segment joining the point A 1 comma minus 5 and B minus 4 comma 5 in the ratio K:1. Children, I told you that you could take ratio M1 ratio M2 also. But using M1, M2, you will be getting a pair of linear equation in 2 variables. Because you are going to take 2 different variables. Fine. And then you have to calculate the values of both the variables to come to know about the required ratio. So instead of that, I am going to adopt method number 2, in which I will be taking one variable only. So what will be the ratio? That is K:1. So this is line segment. Let this point M, which I told you that this is basically the point of division, and its coordinates right now I have assumed as x comma y. So this is K:1. Okay, let us apply section formula. So the coordinate of x, coordinate of m will be x is equal to, let us apply section formula, minus 4 into k, that is minus 4k, plus 1 into 1, that is 1 upon k plus 1. This is sum of the ratio, comma, y is equal to 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1. Okay. As it is given in the question that m lies on x-axis. So on x-axis, children, you know that y coordinate is always 0. So what I have written, because x-axis divide the line segment AB, so the coordinate of m, which I have assumed as x comma y, they must be x comma 0 actually. Okay. Now using section formula, these are the coordinates of point m. But as per the question, these are the coordinates of point m. So when both are the coordinates of point m, so let us equate them. So after equating them, children, if you are going to put this abscissa equal to this abscissa, so you will not be getting anything. Why? Because here k is present, which is unknown variable, here x is present. So let us take both the ordinate equal. So I have got 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1 is equal to 0. While cross multiplying, 5k minus 5 is equal to 0, that is k is equal to 1. So what is the required ratio? That is k ratio 1 is equal to 1 ratio 1. Children, for example, at place of k, if I was going to get 3 upon 7, so it would be 3 upon 7 ratio 1. So you just multiply this ratio by 7. So you will be getting 3 ratio 7. Or even you could cross multiply also. Fine. So as we have to calculate the coordinate also of the point of division, and we know that these are the coordinates of the point of division. You know the value of k, just put the value over here. So it would be m x comma 0, that is, put the value of k. This is minus 4 into 1 plus 1. Minus 4 into 1 plus 1 upon 2, comma, 5 into 1 minus 5 upon k plus 1, that is 1 plus 1. 5 into 1 minus 5 upon 2. Fine. So this is minus 4 plus 1 upon 2 and 5 minus 5 upon 2. That is minus 3 upon 2 and 0. 0 we knew already. Why? Because this point was lying on x-axis. Now we just wanted to calculate its abscissa, that we have calculated. Correct, students? One more small point I want to add in it. Children, suppose you will be having a line segment given, and it is said that you have to calculate the coordinates of the point of trisection. Tri means 3. So definitely there will be 2 points of division which are going to divide this complete line segment. So as it is said, trisection means 3 equal parts. So this is 1 ratio 1 ratio 1. Fine. As suppose I have to calculate the coordinate of point P. So P is going to divide complete AB in the ratio 1 ratio 2. And if I have to calculate the coordinates of point Q, so it is going to divide AB in the ratio 2 ratio 1. Fine. Or I told you that we could apply the concept of midpoint also. Fine, students. So that you know very well. Clear, children? Now children, this is last point which I want to tell you. For example, the complete line segment is going to be divided by these 3 point of divisions in 4 equal ratios. So can you tell me how can I calculate the coordinates of point P? This P point is going to divide complete line segment in the ratio, this is 1 ratio 3. Okay, let us talk about this Q point. Q point is going to divide in the ratio 2 ratio 2. That is actually 1 ratio 1. Means we can apply the concept of midpoint over here. Let us talk about this point R. This is going to divide AB in the ratio 3 ratio 1. Understood, students? Now children, that's it for the day. This is the time to get mathematics homework. Please note down your maths homework. Revise exercise 7.1 and 7.2. You take 7.2 instead of 7.3. Because I have covered distance formula which is present in exercise 7.1 and 7.2 exercise in which I have covered a section formula. Correct, students? And you will have to do at least 15 sums in your practice notebook. Clear, children? And you know that I will be continuing with this chapter in another summary lecture also, in which I will be making you understand about the derivation of area of triangle, and I will be taking the derivation of finding the coordinates of the centroid of a triangle. Correct, students? So that's it for the day. Thank you. Please like the video and do not forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.